Hello, hello everybody. This is your practice problems video for the surface area and volume of prisms and cylinders. Okay, I've got three different 3D shapes for you here. There's a cylinder, a rectangular prism, and a triangular prism. Okay, so for each of these, what we're going to do is we're going to label the net, right? Because we have the 3D shape and the unfolded net. We're going to calculate surface area using the correct formula, and we're going to calculate volume using the correct formula. Okay, so I'm going to do the first two, the cylinder and the rectangular prism, and then I'm going to have you try the triangular prism on your own here. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right in here. So the first thing I need to do is label my net. Okay, so I'm just going to take the information that's on my net and put it in the, or on my 3D shape and put it in the right spot on my net. So they told me that my diameter here is 8. So that means this distance across here is 8. And the same thing down here. This distance across here is 8. Okay, and then they told me that the height of my cylinder is 19. So 19 goes right here. Okay, that's it. That's all you need when you're labeling your net. Okay. All right, so let's do surface area next. So if you recall, the surface area of a cylinder, the way that you find that is you do 2 pi r h, right? So that's like the area of the rectangle, right? This is 2 pi r h, right? That's the area of the rectangle, okay? Plus 2 pi r squared, right? Because each of these circles is pi r squared. So pi r squared to find the area. So there's 2 of them, right? So this is like the area of your circles. And this is the area of the rectangle in the middle. Okay, now the one thing that I don't have here that I need is my radius, because they did not give me the radius, they gave me the diameter. They told me the diameter was 8. So remember, if they give you the diameter, cut it in half to get the radius. So the radius is 8 over 2, which is 4. Okay, all right, now I have all the information I need. I have my radius and I have my height. So let's plug this into the formula. So my surface area is 2 pi, my radius is 4, and the height of my prism is, or my cylinder is 19. Okay, so that's the first part, plus 2 pi, radius is still 4 squared, right? Once you get to this point, you just got to do a bunch of simplifying, okay? So what I have here is 2 times 4 is 8, and 8 times 19 is 152. Okay, so I literally just multiplied 2, 4, and 19 together, and I still have my pi stuck there on the end, okay? Plus 4 squared is 16, and 2 times 16 is 32. So 32, and I still have my pi stuck there on the end, right? Remember, the reason that we kind of leave the pi off by itself and don't deal with it until the end is just because that way you don't have to deal with all these crazy decimals and a bunch of rounding error, okay? So now I can add these two together. 152 plus 32 is 184, and I still have my pi. So now in my calculator, I can do 184 times, and I'm going to hit the little pi symbol to make sure I have the most accurate answer, right? So 184 pi is 578, and I didn't give you a place to round to, like I didn't say round to the nearest 10th or round to the nearest 100th. So if I don't give you one, 2 decimal places is usually good. So 578.05. And because there are no units in the problem, you do not have to give me units in the answer. Okay? All right. So let's find volume now, okay? And volume is a little bit easier, right? The volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h. And I know all of this information. So I have pi, my radius is 4, squared, and my height is still 19. Okay, so I have pi times 4 squared is 16, and then I still have that 19 there. So 16 times 19 is 304. So 304, and I still have my pi. So now, once I'm at that point, I'm going to do 304 times pi in my calculator, and that gives me 955.04. Okay, and technically, I would put like units cubed, right? Technically here, I should put units squared, but honestly, if I don't give you units in the problem, I'm not going to get mad at you if you don't give me units in the answer. Okay, so that is your cylinder surface area and volume. Right, give me 1 second to clear my screen and move some stuff around, and then we're going to do a rectangular prism next. All right, y'all, so let's go ahead and take a look here at this rectangular prism. So the first thing I need to do is label my net. Okay, so I have these long lengths here are all 21, right? So 21, right? I'm just putting it in a couple places. You don't have to label every single one because there's a lot of them, right? This really, really skinny part is 5. Right, so this is 5 here, 5 here, 5, 5, right? So you can kind of tell where those are. And then my kind of medium length side is 10. So this is 10, 10, 10, and then I have others here. So like this is 10, 10. Okay, so there's my net labeled. Honestly, the reason that I do this and that some problems will have you do this is just because it makes it a little easier to figure out like what goes where and like what parts are supposed to match up and which rectangles go together, which measurements go with which rectangles, etc. Okay, now because we're dealing with a rectangular prism here, we have a special formula for surface area. So remember, it's 2 times, and then you have length times width. So you have like, basically what you have here is every possible combination of 2 of the sides. Right, so you have length and width together, width and height together, and then the only pair that's missing is length and height, right? Each of these, this one, and this one, each represent one of these rectangles here, like one of these different sizes of rectangles, right? So if I say that 5 looks like the height of my prism, 21 looks like the width, and 10 looks like the length, right? So that means that this kind of like small rectangle here is length times height. So that's that third one, right? This kind of skinnier rectangle is 5 times 21. So that's width and height. So that's this second one right here. And then length times height, or length times width, sorry, is like these bigger rectangles, right? So those are your 3 different rectangle types. 1, 2, 3, right? So just as a reminder, that's kind of where this surface area formula comes from. Okay, but if you know all the information, you just have to plug stuff in and simplify. So I have 2 times length times width is 10 times 21, okay, plus width times height is 21 times 5, plus, and then length times height is 10 times 5. Okay, so I'm going to simplify inside the parentheses. So 21 times 10 is 210, plus 21 times 5 is 105, plus, and then 10 times 5 is 50. I'm going to add all of those values together. So 210 plus 105 is 315, plus 50 is 365, and then I just have to multiply that by 2. Right, so 365 times 2 is 730. Okay, and technically I should put units squared right here, but that would be my final answer. Okay. All right, and then volume is pretty short, right? Because it's a much shorter formula, right? So remember, the volume of a rectangular prism is just multiply all of those dimensions together, length times width times height. So you have 10 times 21 times 5. All right, and if I multiply all of those together in my calculator, I get 1,050. And then I technically should put units cubed right here. But like I said, I wouldn't be mad at you if you didn't do that. Okay, so there's surface area and volume of a rectangular prism. Okay, so what I would love for you all to try, because there's one more, and this is a triangular prism. Okay, I'm going to set you up with your formulas here to kind of help you out a little bit. Okay, because I want you to try this one on your own. So as a reminder, the surface area, the general formula for surface area of a prism is 2b plus ph. Remember, b is the area of the base shape. Which in this case is that triangle right there. And I'll tell you, it's a right triangle, right? So your base and your height of that triangle would be 3 and 4. Okay. P stands for the perimeter of the base shape. Okay, and then H is the height of the prism. Okay, so that's surface area, right? That's your formula for surface area. Okay, and then your formula for volume of a prism is just capital BH, where B and H mean the exact same thing as surface area. So capital B is the area of the base shape, and H is the height of the prism. So once you calculate the area of the base shape here, you don't have to calculate it again for volume. Okay, so remember, take the information in the 3D shape, label the net, okay, because that's going to help you figure out what the perimeter is, what the height of the prism is, etc. Okay, and then use that to find the surface area and volume. Okay, and I want you to try this here on your own. So pause the video, try this out, and then check back with me to see how you did. All right, folks, so check back here and see how you did. Compare your answers with mine. Okay, surface area is definitely more complicated to calculate than volume. Okay, but it does help to have that net labeled. Okay, so what I saw in the 3D shape is that this slanted, the longest side of the triangle was 5. So this is 5 and 5. It looked like the height of the triangle. You basically, what this net did is it kind of took these triangles and unfolded them like towards us. Like this one folded towards us and away from us, right? So it folded like here and here. Okay, so the height of that triangle was 3. Right, and the base of that triangle that's still connected to this rectangle in the middle was 4, right? So then it was easier for me to find these values because they have to match up, I know here. So if this is 5, this is 5. Same thing here, okay? And then if this is 3, I didn't write it, but this would be 3. This is 3, this is 3, okay? And then the 4 is just here and here, okay? So my base shape is a triangle with a base of 3 and a height of 4, okay? So area of my base is 1/2, 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12, cut that in half, is 6. The perimeter of my base shape is all of these added together, 3, 4, and 5. right? So that's 12. And then the height of my prism is a little easier to see, honestly, if you look at the 3D shape, right? You can see if this is the base shape, the height, this triangular prism is kind of fallen on its side because the base is something you can see. It's not actively like sitting on the base, right? The base shape is here, which means the height is here. So it's 3. Okay, so once I have that, I'm going to plug that information into my formula up here. Okay, so surface area is 2 times the area of the base shape, which is 6, plus the perimeter, which is 12, times the height of the prism, which is 3. 2 times 6 is 12. 12 times 3 is 36. You add those together and you get 48. And because they did give me units in the problem, I need to give units in my answer. And because I'm dealing with an area, a surface area, right? My unit is going to be inches squared. Okay. Then for volume, much simpler, especially because you did most of the heavy lifting with the surface area. Volume is just capital BH, area of the base shape times the height of the prism. Area of my base shape is 6, which I got from the previous calculations from surface area. Height of the prism is 3, right, which came directly from the problem. So 6 times 3 is 18, and then I have inches cubed here, right, because I'm dealing with the volume. All right, folks, so I hope that this little bit of extra practice and these extra examples was helpful for you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.